Hello, everyone, and welcome to a bonus episode 21 of the Book Wars Pod. I'm Kate, making my triumph.
Oh my God, Kate's back! Thank God.
Making my triumphant return. Did you just say who? Go fuck yourself, you fucking asshole. Hi, I'm back.
She owns half your property, Chris. You shouldn't be so rude.
I'm here.
So I separate accounts.
Jesus Christ. I'm here with Chris, Kristen, and Miranda. We have the full crew together for the first time in, like 3 months or something like that?
Hi.
You did not join the Revenge of the Lords of the Sith wrap up as planned. So for the first time since September.
Ugh.
Oh.
Our 100th anniversary, 100th episode celebration was the last time you joined us.
Fucking died. Here's a pro tip for all you children out there who
Don't
are
go to
thinking,
grad school. What? Don't go to
Yeah.
grad school?
Yeah, don't
Harsh
go to,
but fair.
Don't go to grad school, and if you go to grad school, don't try to get 2 out of 4 of your hardest requirements like out of the way immediately.
No.
I did a dumb thing. If anyone is interested, I will expound, but I'm sure no one is. Anyway, so for this episode, we will be talking about The Rise of Skywalker, but we have a little caveat for you going into this.
Yeah. So as we've done in for past films, we're going to be splitting this movie, our analysis of this movie, up into 2 episodes. And as we've done in the past, first episode is just kind of be reactions to the movie, what we thought of it, what we liked, what we didn't like. And the second episode is going to be where we dive into analysis, what it means based on what we know, what we still don't know, what we still want to find out, what we're looking forward to, things like that.
Basically, this the angry, screaming episode.
So to that point, we want to be upfront. The Star Wars fandom has many emotions.
Not
Too
in my
many.
Star Wars.
People like to know if they're going to be listening to something that agrees with them or doesn't agree with them going off the bat. We did not like this movie. Kristen, no, I don't want to speak for all of us. Kristen liked it.
Listen, like
Kristen,
is a strong word.
Our feelings overall are more negative than positive, and the tenor of this episode is going to be negative.
Yeah.
If you liked the movie and just don't want to listen to people shit on it, then that's awesome. Do what you want to do to make yourself happy in life. Don't listen to the next episode where we're going to be getting substantive and talking about analysis, and that we're going to, keep feelings free.
Yes. If you would like us not to yuck your yum, you may log off. You can let this play in the background so we get your play. That would be great if you love us. But
Yeah,
otherwise,
just download it. But if you're listening already, then you've already downloaded it, so we're great.
Yay.
You have fulfilled your duty. You can log off.
He said duty.
Oh my God.
Oh my fucking God.
Do you log off of a podcast, or do you just pause it and close the app and never listen to it again?
You log off.
No, I think you disappear into the Force.
I see. I've done that before.
But no
Yeah,
Force
but,
Ghost.
But no Force Ghost.
But arbitrarily. I don't know. I don't really. Okay. I
You
have
kiss
so
the
many
podcast and then you
questions.
disappear.
I have so many questions.
All right. So let's call it right there. Negative starts now. If you're listening, you have been warned. If you are listening and either liked it or didn't like it, but are looking for some funny good times, this is
Funny good
hopefully
times.
will be good.
LMAO.
It's true. Also, if you enjoyed it, the most important thing for me is that, the kids had a good time.
Oh God, we saw it today, and the little girl behind us was so scared because she was too young to be there.
Oh, no.
I was like,
baby.
why? I'm sure she really wanted to go, and so her parents were like, "Fuck, okay, we'll take you." And I was like, she was asking really poignant questions, like, "Where did Ray go?"
Oh,
etc.
A mood.
But she looked super scared during the Palpatine scenes
God. Yeah,
that I saw while I was with the parts that I was awake for.
Oh my God.
But yeah. But no.
But no, if you enjoyed this movie, I am happy for you because I wish I had enjoyed this movie. You are having a better time than I am, and blessings upon you. Seriously.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, we're not shitting on this movie because we wanted it to be bad. Like,
We actually really wanted it to be good.
yeah, we like Star Wars, funnily enough. So, you know, if you liked it, that's awesome for you. It's not a character flaw to like it. It's not a character flaw to dislike it. All of us will be fine.
Yeah, guys, I literally like unabashedly love Attack of the Clones.
It's really problematic.
It's much more problematic than this. Like, I just happen to not like this movie.
Oh,
as
I mean, like,
much.
you're liking it is
Oh.
problematic.
Oh yeah, I know.
I mean, it's also a problematic movie, but like,
Just a deeply fucked up character flaw on Miranda's part.
Oh my
that's what I'm saying.
God.
That's like what she's always trying to watch, and I'm like, can we not?
Oh my God. All right. Speaking of hot trash garbage, what's everybody drinking today?
This is a tequila moment for me to talk about this movie. I'm drinking my classic Arete Tequila Blanco, which I haven't actually had tequila since Thanksgiving, I don't think so.
Oh.
On the pot, anyway.
There was a lot of
Crispy.
tequila on Thanksgiving.
I
There
know.
was, yeah.
Crispy drinking tequila.
Mhm.
Oh, I just asked Miranda where this Lego piece went, but I forgot I used it to make a lightsaber for my Lego man. Anyway, I'm having tea. It's mint. I have to take care of Jasper's brother after this, so that will
Aw.
require me to get into a car and be safety.
Good.
Yay.
Very responsible.
Safety. We love tea.
I have an array of beverages. I have what's left of my mint tea, and I have a 365 sparkling water, lemon flavored for later. And I also have a rye, which I'm trying to lean into this, so that's character development. It's from
Put that under character development.
It's a straight rye whiskey from Stone Barn,
It's the only thing straight about her, folks.
which is
true.
a local Portland company, and they're actually not like a whiskey distiller. They do this small batch rye, but I think they do like more brandies. So the back says Stone Barn Brandy Works sources its fruit and grain in the Pacific Northwest and distills brandies and spirits using a custom German pot still.
Cool.
So
Fucking
they just
cool.
like also happen to make this whiskey, and they are at the farmer's market on Saturdays. So I went to the farmer's market and bought whiskey.
Love it. You love to see
Fuck
it.
yeah.
Yay.
It's incredible. I enjoy
What are you
that.
drinking, Mom?
I have my trusty old Trader Joe's brand pomegranate White Claw, which was hard fought because I live in a motherfucking college town, and all the fucking sorority and like frats and like Greek life kids fucking scoop up all the goddamn specifically the pomegranate. They have lemon too, which is less good.
Like, pomegranate's so good, though.
Exactly, but they take all of it. So I've been trying to buy a fucking 6-pack of goddamn Trader Joe's brand pomegranate White Claw for like a month and a half, and I have not been able to do so.
Is Natty not good enough for them? Because that's offensive.
I know, I don't ask questions because then I have to fucking fill out reports on underage drinking or whatever the damn hell. So
That's
reports at
our
this time.
generational thing. People getting their student loans paid off fine. Yes, do it. Don't care if they have to go through what we had to go through, but you have to drink your fucking Natty
You
Light.
better drink Natty Light.
I mean, but can you imagine what it would have been like if like there was White Claw, if that was a big thing when we were in college? That would have been a disaster.
I mean,
I mean,
true.
Burnett's
we
was
lived
and is a
through
big
Four
thing, so I
Loko.
can envision it.
So
Okay, but like for Loco, y'all.
yeah,
Some
I
of
was
us
gonna
were
say,
a little young for the real Four Loko.
I know.
Yeah,
lived
so were
through
we.
Four Loko. I didn't. I know, technically speaking, yes. I don't. I think a part of me really did die, so I shouldn't say I survived it.
Fuck me.
Wah, wah.
Well, on that pleasant note, shall we like dive in and stuff?
The Rise of Skywalker, the Four Loko of Star Wars movies.
Yes. Oh God, I was about to say
It'll
that.
pump you
Love
up and leave you feeling really shitty afterward.
Huh. I'm gonna have to like think about this analogy, but I think that's true.
that. It's very chaotic.
It really
Yes.
is
Works
very
better than you would think
chaotic.
it does.
I'm upset with you, but what else is new? All right. So, shall we start with characterizations? because
If we
there's
must.
there's a lot going on. I actually think we should start with Leia.
Okay,
Just
let's start with Leia.
going with the big guns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember when she said she don't want to be a Jedi
What?
in all those books that we read
Many
on this
times.
podcast
What?
about
No.
books?
What's a book?
Way.
What's a book?
That's what JJ said.
Yo, JJ said a lot of things, and one of them was I can't read.
Yo, honestly,
All
the
right.
funniest thing that I've read about like a reaction to this movie is they like interviewed the editor asking why like stuff was cut, and like this like gets into like hashtag JJ cut conspiracy theories, which is
God.
bullshit.
I don't know what that means, but I
oh,
don't really
don't-
want
you
to
don't
know.
want to.
I'm not,
I'm
I don't.
scared.
I don't want to know.
But-
I already have so many questions about stuff you put in this outline that I think a normal person would understand. So
Right. Well, basically, they were like, the interviewer was like, so why did you like not explain the Emperor at all? And the editor was like, well, you know, there was just so much information in this movie. And I'm like, what movie did you see?
Oh
They
my
did explain
God.
it if you read The Crawl. So I don't know what your question is.
No, they only explained it if you
Gosh.
fucking play Fortnite.
What? Oh yeah, that's
What?
what Quinn was asking me. He was like,
Wait,
did you,
what?
Did you read the Fortnite stuff? And I was like, I can't tell whether or not you're trolling me right now.
Wait, no, wait, are you
in
fucking
the
kidding
first
me?
in the first paragraph of the crawl, when they
Oh,
talk
no.
about like the galaxy has heard a message from Palpatine,
Yeah.
you
sent
hear
it through
that
Fortnite.
message in Fortnite.
Are you
Why?
fucking shitting me? Is this a fucking joke?
Hand to God.
Is
Does
this
Disney own Fortnite? I'm really confused.
is this a joke? Is
Fortnite
this-
Wars Pod.
Are you fucking kidding
I
me
don't
right now?
understand Fortnite. Why are they putting Star Wars in
Oh
it?
my god.
It's a great question, Miranda.
I should have taken drugs before this episode. Why didn't I have drugs?
Wait, now but like, what did he say in Fortnite?
It was just
I'm
the
back,
the like
bitch.
shit that's mentioned in the crawl about how he's returned.
Oh, okay.
okay,
Was
because
it
like
anything useful, or
No.
was it just mean? And scary?
I'm sure. Well, I mean, who knows they think is useful and what they think is not useful? Because clearly, we have different opinions on that.
yikes.
All right. So Leia, somebody who's not me, should go first.
Okay. Okay, first of all, one of my problems with this movie was like, why do we never get to hear the message from Palpatine? Well, apparently they buried it in Fortnite, so that's great. That's just tenor setting right
Cross-platform.
Multi-channel media.
Multi-channel media.
Oh my
Normally,
God.
we would endorse it.
But
I'm very
Fortnite-
confused. I don't even know how to play Fortnite or where Fortnite exists.
Where does
Me
the
neither.
30-second audio clip from Fortnite fit into our episode guide?
Oh
I know.
my God.
So, does someone who's not us, me, want to say the books that we read where Leia was featured prominently?
Bloodline.
Sure.
Bloodline by
Bloodline?
Claudia Gray.
Leia, Princess of Alderaan.
Thank you.
Correct.
That one's about her also. It has her name right in
Aftermath,
it.
Life Debt.
Aftermath,
Oh,
Life
yeah,
Debt.
that
Yep.
one.
Sure.
She's in all those books.
She is
And
in all of those books.
You know what I don't think she should have been in?
This movie.
This movie.
This movie.
Yep.
I said it from the beginning, and after seeing the movie, I feel it even more strongly. They should have recast or not had her.
I really thought that, like, if she was in it, it was going to be a very minimal kind of thing. Like, I went it like I thought. I thought that her role in this film was going to be like what I thought Tarkin's role was going to be in Rogue One, which was like very minimal. And then she's like there for half the movie. And I was like, this is a bad idea.
It's not great.
It's really easy to like, and I think it would have been better for the plot to like open up and, you know, they're on like their first big mission for the rebellion without her, and it's like, oh yeah, you know, this thing happened and whatever time gap that is very unclear.
Yep.
Like, Leia died. We're sad about it. Let's move
Yeah.
on.
So there are several dipshit ass things going on with Leia in this movie. The first one, so we mentioned all the books that she features prominently in, and in every single one of them, she very clearly has force sensitivity and force ability, and we know from The Last Jedi that she has some degree of control over the force because she, has what people are calling the whole Mary Poppins moment where she drags herself back to the wrecked ship. But she makes extremely clear in every single one of those books that she has had no desire whatsoever to be a Jedi. Totally happy being in public service, being a Force sensitive who is not, formally inducted into the Jedi Order. She doesn't want it. And I guess the argument can be made in the movie itself that she decides ultimately that she doesn't want it. But the impression has always been that she has never wanted this. Yeah. And so the movie took that and just, tossed that shit out the window.
Yeah. And we do see, like, the Force come through in some of the books, like you said, but it's usually in a way that also kind of plays to her other strengths, which are like the politics and the administrative stuff and not dying when somebody blows up the Senate.
Correct.
And I don't know, man. It's just like, it was very easy.
It feels very unnecessary
to not have her be that Force sensitive.
Yeah. And like,
or to not have her lean into it that much.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that like actually set her apart from Luke, that she didn't want this guy to be teaching her about things because she already had that intuition and she was comfortable with it, Mm-hmm. The other thing that pissed me the fuck off is actually probably the larger thing that pissed me off is that oh wait, fuck. We did this in the wrong order. We forgot to do first impressions and then
Oh, we did. We totally forgot first impressions. Well, we'll do those now. I just have one point about Leia. The reason I have always been staunchly against Leia being a Jedi, and I think it's stupid in Legends, and I think it's stupid here, is that this movie basically said, and this movie says all over it, there is only one way to be a hero. Mm-hmm. There is one way to win. There's one way to be a good person and contribute to the galaxy in a positive way. And that is to be a Jedi. Doesn't matter if you're using your talents for other stuff. Bullshit. Doesn't matter. The only way is by being a magical force hero. And I reject that. I don't think that's what Star Wars should be about.
I resent that.
I don't think that's what Star Wars should be about. I think it's a shitty message for any story. I think it's a shitty message that the only way you can be a hero in Star Wars is by being a warrior, when Yoda says in Empire Strikes Back, wars not make one great. And the only way that you get to be a hero is by swinging a lightsaber. And it's exhausting to me, and it's infuriating, and I loved that Leia was above it, and that she used her own talents to have a bigger impact on the galaxy, arguably, than Luke Skywalker, and now none of it matters.
But the Jedi use lightsabers. They go zoom.
Her lightsaber was cool.
Luke fucked off for years and did absolutely jack all. So whatever. I mean, we can also he fished. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about his whatever the fuck he was doing after Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, which we know nothing about.
Yeah, which I'm sure we'll get now.
Maybe he also
apparently
fished
spent
then.
a year training Leia at some point.
I mean, the other thing the movie says is that you can't be a hero to the galaxy unless you're a Skywalker, but we'll get to that.
Ugh,
Yeah.
God.
All right, so what we wanted to start with, actually. All right, so when you saw the movie the first time and you walked out, first impression, 3 words maximum.
Yikes, my dude.
I hated everything.
That's a movie.
This isn't 3 words, but it literally was what I said, was what the fuck did I just watch?
Yeah.
Oh, I think I texted that to you guys.
Yes,
Yeah.
you did.
I was going to say, I think my text you guys was literally well, that was a film.
No, it literally was.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever rolled my eyes so aggressively and so many times during a movie. And I have garbage taste in movies.
Well, yeah.
I
And I
mean,
put
which we know.
this on the outline. I have a really hard time thinking about things critically in the moment, especially movies, because they've always been such an immersive thing for me. So I felt very much like after, like how I feel after a long action movie. I was like, huh, there was a lot of input. That was a lot of things. Yeah, and I didn't have like totally negative feelings about it until I started thinking about what I watched.
Oh no.
Which is, but I mean, like seriously, like that's why, like I came out of the movie like, huh, okay, that felt like something that happened to me, for like really, which is how
Sure.
I feel in a lot of like, you know, tons of input action movies. I feel very similarly. I'm like, okay, but then it's Star Wars, so like I have a much better understanding of it than I do most action movies, and I've dedicated a lot of time to understanding it and blah blah blah.
For better or for
So-
worse in this case, I guess.
Yeah, right. So yeah, that's how I kind of, because I know you guys were like, no, we don't want to dissuade you from liking it, and I was like, no, I don't like it because I thought about it for more than 0 minutes. So it wasn't really you guys. It was just like my initial thoughts were just like, okay, that was a movie.
Film.
That was
I
a lot.
viewed.
There was a lot of stuff that happened. It was very JJ, that's for sure.
Oh yes, it was extremely, which we will also get into. All right, and we've all seen it twice at this point, which is why we kind of waited to record this episode because we wanted to get that second impression. After seeing it again, what changed for you, if anything?
Kristen fell asleep.
I fell asleep the second time.
Which
I
is
had a large
yikes.
coffee on my. I mean, we saw it at 10:30, and I had like gone and done stuff this morning before we went to do it. Like went to go see it again, and I had a large like I had to get up and pee like 4 times during the movie because I
God.
had so much coffee and so much water, and I
Holy
still fell
shit.
asleep.
Wow.
Wow.
I mean, like it was like once before ready my pee schedule for the movie, once before, once during the previews.
Yeah,
And then when did
that's-
I get up again? Maybe it was only 3 times.
No, you. Yeah, I think it was only 3.
And then after.
What? It was like not even halfway through the movie.
Yeah, they were on oh yeah, I missed them introducing Babu Frick for the first time,
Oh,
which
yeah,
I was
yeah.
sad about because I thought
Aw.
that like bullshit part where they were in the rain and somehow not dying even though they're surrounded by stormtroopers lasted longer. But it's fine.
Cool.
Cool. The great
so-
Chris, that was my analysis. I peed 4 times before, during, and after the movie, and I fell asleep.
I mean, that you fell asleep, I think, is important though, because what the hell, like,
Yeah.
It's
the last
so
time,
long.
the last time I like knew a person who fell asleep during a movie, and I was like, oh my god, how bad is this movie? Is when my ex went to the midnight opening of Order of the Phoenix.
Oh, God.
And just fell
Bad
asleep.
movie.
Just fell asleep. The entire Department of Mysteries just passed out. And I was like, listen, all of us were sleep deprived in high school because we went to nerd high school, but like, oh my god, like, oh, just fucking yikes on a bike, y'all.
Yeah. There was lots of like weird Harry Potter movie feel to this.
Yeah.
In that it was bad and didn't have a story.
Yes.
Wow.
Sorry,
I meant
I
more
also
of the visual-
famously think that the Harry Potter movies are terrible. So,
That's
Yeah.
famously.
well,
Famously.
anybody who's asked me about Harry Potter has heard that opinion.
Oh my god.
Correct.
This is why we don't talk
and
to
I
you.
think you've said that to people who listen to this podcast, unfortunately, who unfortunately listen to this podcast.
I know.
Yeah, right?
No, like, I don't know. There was like snake shit. Like, it was just like very
Snake
serpenty. Well, right. There was like a snake
we
that
don't,
she
it's true.
saved. And then there was like all the parts with Palpy felt very like Prisoner of Azkaban. No, not Prisoner of Azkaban. The one with the snake.
Goblet of Fire?
No,
No.
the second one.
Chamber of Secrets.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Felt very
Oh,
Chamber
oh,
of
oh.
Secrets, like all of that stone shit reminded me a lot of the Chamber of Secrets and all that extra ass shit. Anyway,
Yeah, that's those are visuals that, you know, we have in our lexicon, definitely.
Yeah.
All right.
For me, the second time around, I was able to enjoy it more because I knew all of the what I considered and still consider to be stupid plot points were coming. And so I was able to prepare myself for them and just focus on the fun moments. There's a lot of fun dialogue. Some of the action's good. I don't love all the lightsaber battles. Just because I've seen analyses of them that I'm sure I will come around to, but I don't think that much thought was put into, and that annoys me.
He didn't like the berries.
Yeah, the fucking berries.
Well, we will actually be talking about that in a
We'll
hot
talk about the
second.
berries, the magical disappearing berries.
Jesus.
But so I was able to find stuff I enjoyed. I enjoy Palpatine as a character. I actually enjoyed the Palpatine sequence, such as it was. I enjoyed the trio content that we got to an extent, which we will talk about shortly.
We talk about so many things, y'all.
So it basically, literally, first time I came out of this movie, I was like, this is my least favorite Star Wars movie of all time, and it's not close.
That includes Solo.
Damn.
Solo's a solidly tier 2 movie for me because half of it's good and half of it's bad. Again, IMO. And half of it's that's good is really good.
Yes. And Woody Harrelson dies. That's a positive in that movie.
That is a positive.
Fuck yeah, that is.
Sorry.
We can't possibly have another movie with Beckett. That is a positive.
Yes.
But yeah, after the second viewing,
Fuck off, Miranda.
Oh my
oh god.
God.
Oh, she whispered prequel. She's so rude.
I know
Oh,
she
God.
did.
After this,
I know what you did.
after the second viewing, this is solidly going to be a movie that I am going to be able to watch many times in the future and enjoy for what it is and just acknowledge the parts of it that are bad, a la episodes 1 and 2. So it is on par with Attack of the Clones for me at this point.
Got it.
I do not feel the same. No, I feel like after I came out of the second viewing, I still liked the things that I liked the first time around. Because, when I saw it the first time, I came out of the theater and I was really trying to focus on some of those. Because there were some good spots in this, right? Like, there were some fun lines. There were some fun little things that happened. But I still rolled my eyes aggressively 3 times in the theater.
Great.
I feel like, because I obviously hadn't seen it before the first time I watched it, because that's how that works.
Yeah.
But again, I kind of like Kristen was saying earlier, this time it just felt like this movie was happening to me, and I felt medium. I just didn't really feel anything except for the parts that really I thought were stupid or the parts that I really did like. It was just like, this is a movie and I'm watching it.
Yeah.
Like,
For sure.
I'll watch it again, I'm sure. It'll be on sometime.
It will be.
And it's Star Wars, it's fun.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's not going to be very high on my. It's not high on my list of rewatchable Star Wars. That's for fucking sure.
Yeah.
Because it's 2.5 fucking hours long.
Yeah, it's a long ass movie.
Which is crazy because, like, I think TLJ still clocks in as the longest Star Wars movie.
No, this
Ever?
does.
This does?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Well, The Last Jedi was good.
Yes.
This is longer. I
And-
think
I
it's
think
like 10
I
to 15
think
minutes
Last
longer.
Jedi was slightly longer than this actually.
Okay.
Well,
I'll check.
it didn't
Go ahead.
feel like it.
It didn't feel like it. This movie felt really long.
All right. So, getting back into the characterization talk. So, we started talking about Leia. And problems with her being a Jedi. The other problem I had there was so we get to the point where, Maz is like, Leia's going to have to use like every last bit of her life force basically to reach Ben and turn him good again or whatever is going on there, which isn't really explained because JJ. And I was and then she dies. And I was just like,
Rip in peace.
you fridged her. You literally fridged her. Like,
Oh,
the
yeah.
definition of fridging is killing a marginalized character in order to enhance the character development or storyline of a male character, usually a white male character. So, yeah, you fridged Leia. Are you fucking kidding me? It's like, I saw that, and it was like, listen, it was all downhill for me, honestly, as soon as Rey Palpatine came out of Kylo's mouth. And that was the part where I was like, I was so enraged. I cannot even describe to you how angry I was. Like, I was so furious.
Can I just do a quick side note? Do you remember,
Yeah.
like, 4 years ago, we all went and saw The Force Awakens, and everybody's like, who's Rey's family? And, like, everybody was just trolling and shitposting, and it was like, Palpatine, LOL. Like that was everywhere, but like nobody thought that it would actually be true.
hate
I
when
know.
shit posting turns out to be
And
true.
then J.J. Abrams was like, "That's a good idea."
This movie honestly felt like JJ took the top 10 Reddit Star Wars theories and was like, yeah, let's
Ooh.
make these canon.
You know what it feels like? It feels like the 7th Harry Potter book. If we're gonna bring it back to that,
Yeah.
It feels like the epilogue of the 7th Harry Potter book is what it feels like to me.
yes.
Oh, hi, Orca. It's 5 minutes longer. Right.
This
is
or
Skywalker
TLJ is?
5 minutes
Interesting.
longer than Last Jedi, according
Oh,
to
okay.
BingeClock.com,
All right.
Got it.
Interesting. Okay.
which means that it now takes 24 hours, 25 hours to watch all the Star Wars
That's kind of funny.
movies.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's just Leia is it's exhausting how they treated Leia, and it's so clear that nobody who has I'm trying very hard to like keep my feelings about this movie in check, because again, if you liked this movie, great.
Okay,
I'm
but this is why this is the complaining episode.
truly happy for you. It doesn't feel like anybody who ever had a deep connection to Leia ever saw the script.
Yep.
And JJ, frankly, did not get a good performance out of Carrie Fisher in TFA, which is why I was very nervous about using TFA footage in this. Whereas, thank God we have Last Jedi, because Ryan Johnson and Carrie Fisher were like best friends, and he got potentially the performance of her career out of her for that movie.
I also want to point out that Carrie Fisher herself was a renowned script doctor in Hollywood, generally speaking, and especially on the Star Wars movies. And this is the only movie she did not work on, and it fucking shows.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
But it takes the primary female hero of Star Wars. You know, whether you want to look at that as like hashtag strong female character, whether you want to dive in further, and like we have talked about with her strength as a politician and as a leader, and as in motivating people who are tired and undone, it takes all agency away from her. And frankly, that's kind of the choice that JJ made going in, because you had 5 minutes of Carrie footage and you wrote a story around it for some reason, as opposed to just not including her, which I don't think would have been the right call, but as opposed to even considering recasting, which I know people disagree with me. I think that would have been a better way to honor the character.
And I still feel like that after seeing this movie. I especially feel like that after seeing this movie,
I
personally.
think literally handling her any other way than they did would have been better for me personally. But it's just, you not only did you fridge her, but you took away all of her agency. She doesn't make any decisions in this movie. She doesn't lead anyone in this movie. All she does is
die
and decide not to be a Jedi because it will hurt her son.
Like, what
so
you-
basically, like, have a baby and stop working.
Yeah, like,
And like tell Rey not to go do something that she would never tell Rey to not go do.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, I just like, listen, parenthood is a huge part of anyone's life if you decide to become a parent, and of course that's going to be part of your identity. But I think that the TFA and TLJ did a great job of emphasizing the fact that she is a mother while she is also the badass that we knew and loved in the OT. And here I think we've reduced her to someone who pops out babies. Like, what happened here?
Completely agree.
Yeah. Go,
And
Miranda.
I said earlier that I'm kind of in the camp of she probably shouldn't have been in this movie. Or like, you know, we know they had a little bit of footage, so like maybe do a small amount. But I think, you know, with kind of all of the arguments that we're making here, like it would have been like, what was the point of having her in it if they're just gonna like take everything we know about our character and, you know, do a 180 on it? Like, why is she here?
What a fabulous question, Miranda.
Wikipedia has different runtimes than the other website that I looked at, and somehow this movie is 10 minutes shorter than The Last Jedi, which seems impossible.
Feels an hour longer.
It feels
Wow.
at least an hour longer.
Interesting.
I don't know what the actual fucking runtime for this shit is, but Wikipedia
too
has
long.
it 10 minutes shorter than The Last Jedi. Sorry, Chris.
It's too long, and yet nothing was explained to me.
I know.
I keep
That's
seeing
so
conspiracy.
frustrating.
I know. I keep seeing like conspiracy theories about how JJ just like did not care about The Last Jedi. This and they're conspiracy theories, and I'll leave it at that. And just like tried to cram like the two movies he wanted to do into one fucking movie, and that's honestly what this feels like.
That's definitely what it feels like. It feels like 3 movies. Like, there's no. Excuse me, I'm belching. There's no like story. It just doesn't feel like there's continuity at all.
No,
It's
there
very
doesn't.
confusing to me,
All right.
especially
Do
as
we-
somebody who like likes to come out of things and talk to my friends who know more about Star Wars than I do and like get them to explain shit to me that I didn't understand. This movie was disappointing because no one knows anything.
It didn't feel connected to anything other than the original trilogy.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like it was connected like within the movie half the time.
Yeah. Agree.
Yeah, honestly. Do we have any more to say about Leia before we move on to others?
No, I mean, I could rant about her for hours, but I think I've made my points.
All right, so let's move on to the trio, starting with Poe. So I'm of the camp who thinks that JJ has really never known how to write Poe, and it really shows. And the fact that, Oscar Isaac himself is so fucking exasperated with this fucking movie, like,
And is
on
such a
the
good
press tour.
actor.
I know. Like, when he's on the press tour and he's just like, you should have done this and you fucking cowards and like all this other stuff. And I'm inclined to agree with him. But so several things. Poe is just mad this entire movie. Like, they get off the Falcon and it's just like, why is he always in a bad mood? And I was like, since when is Poe always in a bad mood? Like, what happened here? And then, okay, like, there's that moment on where they like right before they go after Rey to get to the Death Star, and Finn's like, well, you're no Leia. And I was like, where's this coming from? Like, what is all of this? There's like no build up. There's no hint that there's been some strife in the family. Like, I don't understand where
And
any
he
of that is
seems to
coming from.
hate Rey. It's
Yeah.
very weird.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, snaps at Chewie, well, Rey's not here, is she? And we need you out there instead of here, where she's, presumably just like lolling about in the jungle, not doing anything. And then like, Rey left us. Yeah, because you have 6 hours left, which also, side note, stop putting definitive time on Star Wars. It doesn't work.
So funny.
Oh my god, I know.
I don't know why he was, like you said it, he seems angry all the time.
Which, like, what I really need in my film is a angry Latinx person
Who was a former drug dealer.
who was a former
Yeah.
drug dealer, and nothing was set. Like, listen, I don't have trouble necessarily with him being a drug dealer, but the fact that there was no other explanation to it, no lead up, no discussion about his personal ties with anyone else in the gang he was running with, like, there's the fact that there is nothing surrounding it, and he is simply a Latinx man who used to be a drug dealer is kind of yikes.
Yeah.
Oh, it's super racist. Also, of the trio, Poe is the only one with an actual backstory in canon. Like, we know who Poe is. We know where he comes from. We know... Sorry, my phone is... I need to take meds.
Take your meds, Chris.
Yep. But, like, it was so bizarre. Like, honestly, Poe to me... JJ writes Poe with all the nuance of somebody who wanted to kill him off in TFA.
Yeah.
Which he did.
Oh, yeah, no. Poe is not supposed to survive TFA. That's why he doesn't have an arc in TFA. I love Poe in TFA. I love the cocky leader, like, persona that he has in TFA, and it's part of the reason why I loved him in Last Jedi, which, again, that's a different discussion. I've had many discussions with people who disagree. I completely understand where they're coming from or respect that. But this just felt like it ignored all of that and shoehorned in a random backstory that fit neither of the previous movies.
Yeah, it was like, here's a breadcrumb. Look, I'm going to pick one breadcrumb to drop for each one of the characters that has nothing to do with anything. And
Yeah.
then I'm going to use that later. And even though this is the third movie in the trilogy. Trilogy means 3.
Yeah. And like
Bizarre.
I can see them like making Poe like spice smuggler in the past, but if you're
I
gonna
thought you
do
were gonna
that,
say a Spice Girl. I was really
also
excited.
that Poe spice.
I wish they would have made Poe a Spice Girl.
That would have been so much better.
But
honestly.
like if you're gonna do it, take the fucking time to explain it. Like explain how we got there from parents who were in the original rebellion. Explain it like how he lived with that and like what influenced his decision based on that lifestyle to join the resistance. Don't just be like, oh, here's this guy. Let's make him a drug dealer. That's a good idea.
Woof.
I know,
mean,
I have no problem with Poe having some lost years where he rebelled and was mad about how his mom died or whatever the hell
And,
else.
like, I can see
Yeah.
that for him too, because
Totally.
just based on what we get from his personality in the first 2 movies, like, yeah, okay, I can see that. That makes a little bit of sense. But this is just like, what the fuck?
I mean, it speaks to the people who wrote this movie that the most interesting backstory they could think of for the first Latinx star in Star Wars is making him a drug dealer.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
it's at the end of the day, this movie was written by 2 white men who chose to do that and not explain anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
Not like say, because he also, it's canon that he was in the New Republic military before the Resistance, so that also doesn't make any sense.
Yep.
But like, he could have been on an undercover mission. Like, they could have like made clear that it was when he was much younger. Like, it was done incredibly badly, in my opinion. And I have seen people make the argument that they loved this movie because it was better characterization for the trio than Last Jedi was.
Yikes.
And I don't
God, I'm
understand that
so
thinking.
glad I've been off Twitter.
Yeah, one of my comments, like in my just kind of word vomiting in the Google Doc of our thoughts about the movie, is put more fucking people of color in the writer's room.
Please, God.
Dear
Like,
God.
what? This is fucking space. And 2 men are like, we're white men. Let's write everything.
I just
I
don't.
don't
like, that's-
understand. It's really bad. It's very bad. It's bad.
It's bad.
It's not good.
It's extremely. No, it's not.
It's not good.
Speaking of characters who
Bad.
needed, well, do we have more to say about Poe actually before I shovel us along?
Just that I
what I
never
wanna
once sensed any sort of friendship between him and Rey for the entire movie.
And then they hugged at the end.
And then they hugged at the end. Like, it felt like Finn is the glue holding the group together, and Rey and Poe hate each other.
Yeah, whereas like before this movie, like it did seem like Finn was the glue, but it seemed like Rey cared about Poe because Finn cared about Poe, and vice versa,
Well,
which is fine.
Yeah.
And the thing too is
There's nothing wrong with that.
They only met at the end of The Last Jedi.
Right.
Like that was the whole thing. And now they fucking hate each other for some reason.
But they
And I'm
loved
like,
each other then. They were
What
like,
is
oh,
this?
hi.
Also, Poe was like portrayed as weirdly jealous of Finn and Rey. And again,
I was gonna lump that into a later topic we have.
oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no. I mean you
It's-
can still say it. I'm just my brain
I
lumps
just-
that into the something
other thing,
under
like-
quality.
Weirdly jealous, and also like the scene where he's like giving up on an open comm to his entire
Oh
fleet.
yeah.
Which like,
Garbage.
look, I get it's to like do from a filmmaking out of universe perspective, I understand what the artistic choice was, but of every single character, Poe, who is overconfident to a fault and literally led to conflict and growth for him in The Last Jedi, that felt so out of nowhere and like and just really unearned. Just really everything about him felt unearned.
So, do we want to talk about Rey now?
I think maybe Finn first. Speaking of
Right.
characters who could have used a person of color in the writer's room.
Pow, pow,
Bwah,
pow.
bwah, bwah, bwah.
Oh my God.
Bwah. Sad air horn.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So my thing, like, there's a lot of things we can talk about with his characterization in this film in particular, but also over like the course of the trilogy, it just makes me so mad that they never figured out how to write his character.
Yeah.
Like, you've had years to do this. He's a main character. He's in, like, right next to Ray on all the
poster boys.
that guy, the posters. What the fuck?
Correct.
So I, for obvious reasons, adore the idea of him being force sensitive because that's so fucking cool and baller and awesome. And you know, it's funny, but it's surprisingly enough, it's not good writing if people literally had to ask the creators and John Boyega, is the thing that Finn wanted to tell Rey that he was force sensitive? He never actually gets to say it. We could have like the first fucking like Black Jedi up in here since like Samuel Jackson in the prequels, and he never actually gets to say, oh yeah, by the way, I'm also cool. Yeah.
This is a thing that like they cover that in the fucking Force Awakens. Like,
oh yeah,
you know, each movie we get a little Finn force sensitivity as a treat, and I'm just like, can you just like explore this, because it would provide so much depth to this trilogy if we had another like kid out of nowhere who's just fucking force sensitive,
right?
Like, so much could have been done.
I saw a reaction on Twitter, and apologies, I don't remember who said it, but I think it was just like retweeted and nobody who I know. But it was something along the lines of the fact that we needed lines of dialogue to explain how Finn knows how to ride an Orbach, but nothing about how Palpatine is still alive, tells you everything you need to know about how they wrote this movie.
Damn! Yep.
Where's the line?
I
Love
agree.
It's Twitter.
Fuck.
Also, speaking of agency, I like how Jannah and Finn, as the two main black folks who we've seen in Star Wars recently, other than Lando, like, they don't even get agency for their decision to leave the First Order anymore. It's just the Force made them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the thing,
like, again, just completely thoughtless writing that, like, these white people who wrote it were just like, yeah, this seems cool, like, with no thought to the implications of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like Jannah says, you know, we just didn't do it. I don't know why. Like, I don't know why we all just decided to not shoot these innocent civilians. And like, that's
not because she had morals or anything, just because
literally because she didn't
reasons.
know why out of nowhere.
Yeah. And that's what's really a bummer for me, is like, I really liked the scenes that they had together. I think, like, they played so well off of each other, and then they do that, but they don't have the agency at the same time. And it's like, there's a lot going on here. Like, these scenes are one of the better parts of the movie. Some of the better parts of the movie. But it's still, like, deeply problematic.
Super deeply problematic.
Also, the whole ending of Last Jedi was about how Finn, the answer isn't to just sacrifice yourself just because you don't want them to win. And then the entire ending of how they take down the Sith fleet is Finn trying to sacrifice himself. It's just, again, like, it feels like JJ just went in with his own ideas of what episode 8 and 9 combined should have been, and decided to turn it into a single movie and just ignore that Last Jedi existed. Like, I don't think it was malicious. Like, I don't believe all the people being like, oh, JJ said fuck you to Rian Johnson, all that stuff. But it just feels like JJ isn't a good enough writer to fit what he wants into the existing narrative.
I mean, there's that, and also it's, you know, he, by his own admission, has never finished anything before. Lost. So it's almost like he has no fucking clue what he's doing. Almost. Just
also, there's this weird thing that Finn always seems weirdly obsessed with Rey. Like, not just, he's like, where's Rey? That's always his question. And like, we can take this back to the Force sensitivity. We can connect this to anything, but he's always like asking about her, but then there's no real point to it. Kind of like how he keeps telling her in this, in The Rise of Skywalker, that like he has something he needs to tell her, and like it's just a loose end that keeps falling.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, I saw a tweet, and again, I also cannot remember who it was, but it was basically like, you made a black character to just run around screaming this white woman's name. Okay.
Yeah.
That really is kind of what it felt like. So
there's no information that comes of that question. It's just for like dramatic purposes.
Yeah.
And like a cut screen. That's the whole thing.
It's not great.
It's not great, Bob.
It's so frustrating because John Boyega is the beating heart of the sequel trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
And
accurate.
Nobody ever really figured out how to use him. And I say this as someone who actually liked his arc in TLJ, but I also recognize that for it to work, it needed to pay off in Rise of Skywalker, and it very much didn't. And so now that's on Lucasfilm, and that's on the creators, and that's on Rian Johnson as well as JJ, because like I make no secret of the fact that I think Rian Johnson's a better filmmaker than JJ is, but he's also not perfect, and he's also a white man. And Finn's characterization was incredibly dependent on other people, both in and out of universe, whereas others was not.
Yeah, we're going to talk about this later in depth, but it's almost like if you had one person do the trilogy, it would feel like a trilogy and be cohesive.
What a concept.
Fucking Christ.
Seems fake, but okay. I don't necessarily subscribe to the idea that it should have been plotted out all from the beginning, but it's almost like somebody didn't check his work at all, or he ignored all of it.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm fine with it not being plotted out, but I think it makes sense for one person to do it if you're not going to have it plotted out.
Yeah, just like a quick QC. Like,
that's
just one watch through. Like,
that's my thing. I have no problem with it not being plotted out. I think there's no reason that somebody couldn't have made a really strong follow-up with, frankly, minimal changes to this movie. Well, not minimal, but like the point of this movie could have been similar with everything that JJ wanted to do, and they just didn't do it. And we'll get into this about like what is the point of having the story group if nobody is going to take the reins. But this movie just really feels like everybody was waiting for somebody else to pull it back, and nobody did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this movie feels like the picture of a guy trying to fit a whole ass sofa into the back seat of a tiny ass sedan. Like, that's what JJ was trying to do with the plot. It's like, I'm sure it's a good sofa. I'm sure you have great plans for it. That sofa cannot fit in this car.
That's not how sofas work, and also that's not how cars work.
Like, he obviously has a lot of ideas for this, and like fleshed out, a lot of them could be really good. Like, I loved Kajimi. Like, I want to see more of that. And like, ooh, what's this like secret kind of Maz's castle city? Like,
yeah,
just drifters and stuff here, but he's just like, no, I need all of it. Like, not willing to, kind of pare anything back. Like, he just seemed very set on having everything included, when realistically, not everything should have been included.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head with JJ's weaknesses as a storyteller, and it's that like, he has all these great big ideas, and he has no idea how to flesh things out. Like, I don't know if either of you have watched Lost at all.
No.
No.
Okay. Well, basically, he was just like, we're gonna put all this cool shit in there and then not explain any of it. But the premise is not that nothing gets explained, and that's like the whole theme of the thing. The whole theme of the thing is something else, but we just don't explain anything.
Is that a problem?
It's
New phone.
I just
Oh fuck.
And I was actually talking to somebody about this. And I was talking to Scott Hume in the Tasha Station Patreon Slack, and he loves Lost. I don't remember if he liked this movie, to be honest. I think he thought it was fine. But he loves Lost. Lost is one of his favorite shows. And he has said that, like, what he likes is answering a question with more questions. And where I don't have a problem with that. Where I disagree is we don't need to know the answers, but somebody needs to know the answers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need a hint that there is an answer somewhere out there that somebody actually thought through with their brain hole.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel like in Lost or in Rise of Skywalker, like anybody had the answers. It feels like a lot of this stuff was done because it's cool.
Yeah, and it feels
And because, quote unquote, people will like it.
It feels like he's asking the question, or he's putting the question out for us, but he doesn't know the answer.
No, he absolutely doesn't.
It's just like, here's this thing. It's pretty. There's lightsabers. Enjoy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's not enough for me because I actually know how to tell a story. La la la. Anyway, Chris has big feelings about Rey. Does anyone else have big feelings about Rey?
I have. What part of Rey are we talking?
All of it.
Just her characterization.
Are we talking about the whole Palpatine thing?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Because I feel like I had feelings about that. That's
Go
one
for
of the
it.
places I rolled in both viewings of the movie.
Yeah. Same. I mean, literally, Chris and I went to this like second showing, and every time something happened, where like we were just like not into it, we were just like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
And that was us.
It's just like I feel okay, let me use my brain. All of the like weird force shit in The Rise of Skywalker seemed like to sort of be cogent and at least internally consistent, whereas I feel like the weird force shit in this movie.
This is The Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, what did I say?
The Rise of Skywalker.
Sorry, I meant the Last Jedi. The Last Jedi shit was all cogent and like internally consistent, even though it didn't have an explanation. Like the mirror shit, it was just like, okay, it's a dark side hole on this force planet. But like, it's just weird that Rey would be like out running an obstacle course when there's like a fucking war going on. Like, I don't understand what we're doing here.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Yoda would have told her to do that, but also like,
Fucking Yoda.
we know Yoda loves a space obstacle course,
Jesus.
and loves being a backpack. But it just like Rey, who no one can tell to do anything because she just wants to help everyone and do the right thing. Like, Leia wouldn't have told her not to go, and she wouldn't, like, she would have been off doing shit for the Resistance. I just think she would have.
Oh yeah, hard agree. And then, but like she follows up the not doing anything with going up to Leia and being like, I know it sounds like I'm making excuses.
I know, and I guess we didn't talk about the actual execution of having Leia in there, just from a technical standpoint.
Well, because we're talking about that later.
Oh, I guess we are. But
Oh yeah.
that felt so shoehorned because they just had a line of Leia saying whatever it was, like, don't tell me what it looks like, tell me what it is. Or the like Leia telling someone to be optimistic, and so they just like had Greg Grunberg fucking snapping at her for no reason.
It felt, yes, snap. It felt very copy pasta. It was very awkward.
It felt like Mad Libs.
It
Star Wars Mad Libs.
did. Let's
Honestly, this whole movie felt like Star Wars Mad Libs.
But let's focus on Rey before we get into the quality of the thing. So one of the major themes of course, of The Last Jedi was that you don't need to be anyone with a famous bloodline or anything like that to be powerful or to be a hero or, you know, to be a good person, honestly. And, you know, it was great. It was comforting. It was so, it felt right to start ending the Skywalker saga with the story of somebody who would continue on in the galaxy, who was nobody, who wasn't a Skywalker or connected in any way to the original trilogy. And of course, Rise of Skywalker just threw all that out the window by making her a Palpatine. And I've heard the argument that, you know, like it's still saying the same message because Rey's blood destiny, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, was to be evil and she chooses to be good. And I'm like, no, that's the theme of the original trilogy. That's not what we were going for here. And I think probably like the most powerful commentary I've seen on it was, again, I cannot remember who tweeted this, but it was like, Rey Palpatine might have been all of the Jedi, but Rey Nobody was all of us. And I really feel that.
Yeah. And also, like, this film makes her a Palpatine and a Skywalker, weirdly, at the end.
Yeah, like, why does she need that?
That felt very shoehorned.
Again,
and it doesn't... Sorry, go ahead.
Again, it would have been, like, so much more powerful if at the end of the movie, you know, and that old lady on Tatooine was like, Rey who? And she would have just been like, just Rey. Because that's what she's been saying this whole fucking time. Like, she is just her. She is not, you know, anything special other than having space magic. She is just a person.
Yeah, and for her to, like, be so uncomfortable throughout the trilogy being just Rey, and then to have that moment where she's like, nope, this is me. That's just it. Like, that would have been so fucking awesome.
Also, she met Luke Skywalker for maybe a week.
Yeah.
Leia trained her for a year. Leia's last name isn't Skywalker.
Sure isn't.
It's so my thing with Rey is just yes to everything that has been said. But, and again, this is another thing that I have talked to some people about, and people really disagree with me and loved that she was a Palpatine and abandoned her her birthright of like being evil empress. And that's fine. And I can even get on board with that as a concept, except for a few things. One is just how unearned it was. And that's because it wasn't like that. That's where this feeling like two movies shoved into one comes into play, because it feels like JJ wanted to reveal that at the end of at the end of whatever his episode 8 would have been called. And, you know, as a I am your father moment, because JJ is big on it's poetry, it rhymes.
Right.
But they didn't. And they told us that Rey was nobody. And there was an entire 2 years of Star Wars content predicated on the concept that Rey is nobody. And that the Force doesn't just care about these two families and everybody else's chopped liver.
Right. Sorry, we're
and it's just
going. Okay.
And then the Rey Skywalker thing at the end. Again, I know people love this. I know a lot of people at Tashi Station love the Rey Skywalker thing. I have no problem with it per se, because it's her choosing her destiny. But again, it just felt completely unearned, because she doesn't know Luke Skywalker that well. She, like, her biggest connection to anybody was Leia, or y'all know how I feel about Reylo, but Ben. Like, all of these options, she does not have a connection with the Skywalker name. And it felt very like they wrote the conclusion and then wrote their way backward to get there, except didn't, and still kept the conclusion.
It's like putting a bow on a garbage bag.
God damn it! Fuck! Shit!
Yeah.
Jesus! It's true, though.
But so, like...
I can't argue.
So, first
I'm
of
sorry,
all...
I'm going to be crying about this for another week. Yeah, go on.
The Force doesn't discriminate between the sinners and the saints.
Yeah.
Which is what The Last Jedi told us. But to me, like, just... And we've touched on this, and, like, you can make any sort of argument for or against Rey being a Palpatine. But on some level, it just feels like really lazy writing. Like,
Yep.
Do we want to keep her identity a mystery. Like, is she really nobody? Oh, Palpatine's back? Let's do it. She's his granddaughter now, so she has like the fucking space lightning, force lightning shit. This is good. Let's do it. It's a great idea.
It's just another, and again, I apologize to just keep citing tweets that I don't know who tweeted them, but it was somebody tweeted something along the lines of, this movie was filled with batshit EU insanity while simultaneously being the safest movie they could have ever made.
Yes.
Yep.
And Rey Palpatine is a boring and safe choice, in my opinion, because
Agreed.
that is what Star Wars has always been about. Mm-hmm. And it's frustrating to me that, and I didn't expect for this to be my favorite Star Wars movie going in, because part of why I loved Last Jedi is because it moved things forward. And it's been very clear throughout the press tour and the trailers and everything that this is not going to be a movie that moves Star Wars forward, which is fine. Mm-hmm. Not every movie has to do that. But so I knew going in that it wasn't going to be Last Jedi. Mm-hmm. But
sure won.
But it just felt,
that's for damn sure,
like every boring fan theory that they could have shoehorned in, they did. And Rey Palpatine is that, and to me, Rey Skywalker is that. And if it's powerful to you, then wonderful. And I'm really happy that you got something positive from this movie. I truly am. I did not.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. And I mean, you kind of mentioned it, like, this isn't The Last Jedi. They don't really have the space. They don't really have the space to, like, make this super new. Like, this is wrapping up this trilogy and the trilogy of trilogies. Like, to an extent, I think we all knew that there was going to be a lot of, like, tying it back to the original trilogy and all of that, because, like, this is the end.
For sure.
But I'm like, you couldn't have done this better?
I know.
You could have been a little more creative.
Just a smidge, maybe. It's almost... It just hurts me. Like, it just physically hurts me. As a person who is, like, trying to learn how to, like, do storytelling better, I was just like, what the fuck is this? Speaking of what the fuck is this, let's briefly talk about Lando, because, Chris, you wanted to talk about Lando.
Yeah, I have...
My only feeling about Lando is, where's Kasha? And that's all I have to say.
I mean, that's a big... I mean, the conspiracy theory that's going around / implied by the visual dictionary is that Janna is Lando's daughter.
Yeah.
Who was stolen by the First Order.
And that's also kind of implied in the movie, too. He's like, where are you from?
Yeah, and again, this is... regardless of whether you like the conclusion or want Janna to be his daughter, which is not good. Guys, there's more than 2 black families in the galaxy. I don't know how many other ways we can say this.
Just one, apparently.
No fucking way.
But, like, if people are coming away from that scene not, like, just not understanding on a plot level what you were trying to do, that's not ambiguity, that's bad filmmaking. And my thing with Lando is, yes, where's Kasha? And that, like, to me, my headcanon is that Janna is obviously not his daughter. She is the same age as his daughter, awakens paternal feelings in him, and, then they help each other heal in future stories. I would love to see that. Mm-hmm. But he is, I mean, married is a very Earth-centric term, but
also very normative term, because
yeah,
it's not
very
quite that.
very normative term. But normative is the word I was looking for. But he is in a committed relationship with Kasha. Like, we know this. It's very clear JJ didn't care and just wanted to do things. But, like, is the implication that he's been, like, lurking on Pisana for 20 years after they left and couldn't find Ochi? Like, it's just... So that doesn't make sense to me.
And people have asked DJO about this, and he was like, all I can say, because this is all he's at liberty to say, / all he knows, because I don't tell everybody everything, is that when he wrote Lando and Kasha, he intended it to be for the long haul. Mm-hmm. So,
Which is good. I love that for Lando.
Which is-
Love that for
yeah,
Kasha.
same.
Love them together.
But-
It's great.
And then the other thing about Lando, and this I will allow because Carrie died and they needed somebody to have the feel good lines.
Mm-hmm.
But Lando is not, I don't know. And this has always been a thing for me with Lando. And it goes back to all of the EU stuff that I've read after the fact. And a lot of like people being like, why didn't Lando come in Last Jedi? That's a missed opportunity. And I don't want this to sound dismissive because Lando is an incredible character. But Lando's not a hero. And Lando's character has never been a hero.
Mm-hmm.
Lando's character has always been, how can I accomplish the goal, which sometimes is doing the right thing, but how can I accomplish my goal in the way that is the best odds for me because I am a gambler. And Solo actually did that really well. I loved that in Solo and Donald Glover's performance.
And I think there's so much that you could do with that point of view and that character to talk about how black men live in reality and how, and you know, how they have to hustle and like how so many of them, like, you know, people, speaking of drug dealers, like society leaves them very few options.
And it's again the shoehorning into traditional boring tropes. Like we were talking about with Leia, this how I feel that this movie shoehorned her into the trope of only the sword fighting good guy can save the day. People look at Lando like he only matters as a character if he has a heart of gold and has actually just been incredible, and we're going to ignore who he was. To me, Lando is somebody who has gotten by and done an incredible job and has a conscience, and that conscience does lead him at the end of the day, and that's why he ends up helping Han. And there's a lot of stuff in the new canon, whether it's Last Shot, whether it's some of the comics that they've written about Lando. He cares about people, but
and he cares about people deeply.
He cares about people extremely deeply, but he is not the sacrifice myself for the galaxy kind of hero, and he never has been. Like the line, and again, this is where I make allowances because Carrie died and she couldn't deliver this speech to Poe. But when he's like, we had each other, Luke and Han and me and Leia. Lando, you were there for 6 months.
He rolled up at the end and then took credit for the whole thing. Like,
and it's just, and again, and like, that's not saying a bad thing about Lando. Not everybody in the galaxy needs to be the hero. There are ways for you to have value as a person and as a character without being a mythical hero.
Seems fake, but okay.
Oh, and this movie says that there's not, because that's who he is, and he's perfect, just like every original trilogy character is perfect, and Luke is perfect, and Lando's perfect, and it's just, and Leia was a Jedi the whole time. It's just, so that's a problem that I have with how people write Lando, because I don't think that's who Lando is, and I think it's a disservice to his character to rewrite him in, frankly, white-centric terms of heroics.
mm-hmm. And I was joking about this when I just said it, like, oh yeah, he rolls up at the end and takes credit, but like that's kind of who Lando is, like, and you know, he's been written, and I think like I really like his character and the original trilogy. He's like this old friend of Han's, and you know, he seems a little sketchy, but like he'll save the day in the end, because like, you know, this is the end that he wants, and I think that, you know, he does have like deep feelings for Han and all of that, but like he's in this movie because he's from the original trilogy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like no real effort was put into writing him for this movie. His arc here doesn't really add up to anything except to like be that feel good, nostalgic kind of guy. And like that's fine. You know, we need somebody to do that. This is Star Wars. That's what this is all about, right?
For sure.
Like this is a feel-good movie for children in the 70s and 80s. Like, that's what Star Wars has always been about. It's always been about the good versus evil, and oh, Lando's good, but it's, I don't know. I feel similarly, like, about this as I do about Leia, and like I understand that because it is the end of the Skywalker saga, like, it's nice to tie that back to the original films. But if you're not going to do anything of substance with a character, like, what's the point?
Yeah, I was about to
Yeah.
say, like, I understand that they had to tie this back to the original films, but did you have to do it shitty? Like,
Do
And
it
the
well.
other thing, and I will say, because I have fallen into this blind spot in the past, and I think it's important to acknowledge that we are 4 non-black people on this podcast.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
it is important to bring Lando Black because of what he means to Star Wars fans and to black Star Wars fans as a non-white character in this universe.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to say that, but I agree that I don't think misinterpreting his character is a thoughtful way to do that.
Yeah. And like again, I think that he could have been used very well in this movie. Like there's a lot of opportunities to do that. But that just isn't what happened. So like his
Agreed.
presence feels kind of pointless to the plot.
which fucking sucks because I love
Because
Lando.
Lando's amazing.
right?
He is an incredibly underutilized character in the new canon. And one thing we'll talk about next episode of what we hope comes from this movie in universe. But I hope we do get more stories about him and Luke traveling the galaxy searching for Jedi artifacts.
Yeah.
Which would be super fun.
That'd be amazing.
And let DJO
Yeah.
or a black author write it.
Yeah, I was about to
because
say.
DJO did him perfectly.
Let somebody who did not work on this movie write it.
Yes, correct.
Like I said, a black person.
What a concept.
I'm going to talk about Rose very briefly because I think some other bits of it will come out later. But she was a major character, The Last Jedi. She was on screen in this movie for approximately 2 minutes. JJ apparently did an interview where he was like, the best gift that Ryan gave me coming out of The Last Jedi was Kelly Marie Tran.
That was at Celebration that he said that. On stage, in front of people, facing her.
Like, I just have one question. What the fuck? Like what the, are you like, I am so full of rage, for how terribly she got sidelined. We'll talk about a little bit more about that later, but also, I was talking to, Jacqueline Bolin, on, Twitter, and she and I were, we were ranting about this, and she was like, she reminded me of the one of the film stills that came out at Celebration of Rey and Rose talking to each other while standing at one of those like map board thingies. Where the fuck was that scene, bro?
Too much information in this movie, Kate.
A great question. Yeah.
It's just like, God forbid women talk to each other ever. Jesus.
And
Jacqueline is at jbandos on Twitter.
Oh, thank you. I was
I
just
say
about
because
to-
we've been citing sources with no actual attribution this whole podcast, so let's give one.
Jacqueline's lovely.
Thank
Go
you.
follow her.
I was trying to. Oh, found her. Oh, I know her on Twitter. Okay.
Yeah.
But so like again, I am like an incredibly just white person, so I'm not going to try to tackle all of that. But my thing, like, and this goes back to what we've been saying this whole time about, everybody can be a hero and all of that. The Last Jedi, when it introduced Rose, like, that was it. Like, here she
Yeah,
is.
dude.
She, gosh, what was she? She was working in, like, the mines or
She was working as she's a mechanic on
like,
the-
but, like, when she was
cruiser.
a kid.
Oh yeah.
like-
No, she was from a mining system.
She was literally nothing. And, she's this, she joins the rebellion or the resistance. She's this mechanic, but then she, like, is a very heroic person. And, like, she tases Finn when he's about to, like, as she sees it, flee and, like, just kind of go AWOL from the rebellion. And she has such an important role. And she's just another example of, like, anybody can do this. You just have to, like, have it in your heart or whatever, that general Star Wars message is. And then in this one, it's like, what if we give her a couple of lines? And she says, look at this. And then some random ass white dude whose name we do not know explains what we're looking at on the screen. and then she gets left behind several times on, the planet where their base is, and then she tries to talk Finn out of, staying on the thing again, but that's like a 3-second scene, and it's like, what the fuck?
I know, like, they were besties in TLJ, and then all of a sudden it's just like, who dis?
Characters who had more screen time and lines of dialogue than Rose in Rise of Skywalker. Dominic Monaghan's character, whose name we don't know, I mean, he has a name in the visual dictionary, but not named on screen, no backstory, has no point other than JJ and Dominic Monaghan are friends. Dio, who's lovely,
I love Dio,
but is also voiced by JJ Abrams.
Yeah.
JJ Abrams gave himself more lines than he gave Rose.
Snap
And to that I say,
has
no
more
thank
lines
you.
than
Yup.
he does.
Yep, Greg Grunberg. And the infuriating part, and I said I liked this movie more the second time, the thing that I, absolutely, made me, see red was that every single unnamed side character, every single time they had a line, Rose could have said that line and it would have made perfect sense.
Yeah, there's no reason for her to not have a bigger role in this film.
And we haven't talked about the lack of Finn Poe in this movie.
We're getting
And obviously Oscar Isaac in particular, but also John Boyega have been very vocal about how they wish that had been Endgame in the movie. And I'm sorry. If you didn't like this movie, great. If you like this movie, great. I am glad that J.J. Abrams gave you art that made you feel seen and made you feel like you matter, because that's really important. But J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio and everybody involved with this movie, all the way up to Kathleen Kennedy, are cowards for not doing Finn Poe when it made sense perfectly, and instead doing the fucking shoehorned in kiss at the end that they could easily edit out for China. And they're fucking racists and cowards for taking away Rose's role after all the fucking white supremacist fanbros harassed her off Twitter. They actively gave in to that wing of the fandom by excluding Rose from this movie. And I don't care what their excuses are. Oh, well, she was in more scenes, but then it didn't work technically with Leia. And then they walked that back, and actually, it just didn't work.
Too much information to keep her.
Garbage.
You chose not to include Rose in parts of this movie that mattered. That's it. That's the end of the day.
That's the tweet.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening to this episode of the Book Wars Pod. It is part 1 of 3, not 2, of our Rise of Skywalker reactions. This episode was so long, we ended up splitting it into 2. So please, if you enjoyed this episode, join us again tomorrow when bonus episode 22 drops. That'll be another one where we are giving our unfiltered, not necessarily positive takes on the film. And then bonus ep 23 is going to be where we go back to being objective and positive. And if you like Star Wars, then you can listen to that one. Hit us up on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Tumblr at bookwarspod, bookwarspod@gmail.com if you want to email us. And as always, rate, review, and subscribe to us and the Tashi Station Radio Mega Feed. It's the best way for people to discover the show, especially now that the new movie is out and there's so much interest in Star Wars right now. If you have the means, please donate to our Tashi Station Radio Patreon and give us coffee at ko-fi.com/bookwarspod. When you do, we will post pictures of Porkchop, Jasper, and Orca, who is currently nudging me, wanting to play. Our theme song is Whiz Bang by Poddington Bear. Our logo and artwork are by Joe Butera Design. Thanks so much for listening to the Book Wars Pod, and we will see you tomorrow with our bonus episode 22, continuing our reactions of Rise of Skywalker.